Common sense and a sense of humor are the same thing, moving at different speeds. A sense of humor is just common sense, dancing. Clive James. The halls of the stable echoed at every step, the lights dim, making it hard to see. Looking around for what I could guess was some time, I found the atrium. The door seemed bigger than I remembered, the button too high for me to reach. But no matter, as I found a broom to hit the button, and the door opened. The atrium itself was impossibly large, bigger than I remember, but also duller, lacking the color. "Over here!" I called. A filly called to me. She was one of the few foals, some colts and fillies. "Let's go play!" Rushing over to join them, I was curious to play what, but I bet it was going to be fun. "We're gonna paint the sky." The filly pointed her hoof up, and I saw color on top of the color. The sky was bright and filled with foals who flew around without wings. "Let's go!" How do we get up there? Seriously now. They were flying, and only a few were Pegasi. "Happy thoughts!" The filly giggled, then jumped up into the air, and floated up as she kicked her legs. The other foals followed soon after, all of them floating up to the bright sky, joining them with all the others up there. I also jumped, but only met the ground, and tried again, only to have the same result. After the third attempt and failing, I gave up, slapping my hoof on the ground in irritation. Not like I wanted to fly. I'm just fine right here. "Then why did you not fly in the first place?" A voice of the mare echoed throughout the room, soft and regal. "But no matter. Let's see what secret you're holding in that hoof of yours, shall we?" I quickly looked around to locate the mare standing behind me. She was solid black, coat, mane, tail, but her eyes were the color of gold. She had on lab barding, its blue, yellow, and white giving her form in the darkness she sat in. "Who are you?" The atrium had vanished, replaced by a smaller room, the gray still here, but not the same as the stable, too decorated and a bit blurry. "What's going on?" The mare walked out of view, revealing an older pony behind a desk, but everything about the pony was muted, smudged, and blurred. "What's going on is you're getting a promotion, soldier." It was the voice of an older stallion, but his tone sounded off, like an imminent out of tune. "You've been chosen to take part in a special operation. Its utmost discretion is necessary." My hoof immediately saluted. "Yes, sir. No witnesses, sir." My voice was that of a mare's, its tone sounding strong and stoic. I could see a smile through the smudged pony's face as he pulled out a metal briefcase from behind a desk, opening it to reveal 3 stealth bucks inside. "We got a new tool for you to use." He pushed the cassette to me. "It should help you deliver your message." Looking at the pip buck on my leg and examining stealth bucks, I held back a grin. "This sounds like a normal mission. So, what's the promotion, sir?" "This mission will be what gives you the promotion. We need ponies who are truly loyal to Luna to be in charge." A glass of wild Pegasus floated up, the smudged pony taking a sip before continuing. "But sometimes the old guard will stand in the way of this, so we're going to have to ask you nicely to take them down." "Some of them do seem tired. Over the 20 years of service, it must take its toll. I'll see to it that their retirement is considered, ma'am." The smudged pony took another sip of wild Pegasus before putting the glass down. "As long as you use the utmost discretion. Otherwise, we will have to find some other pony better to fill the position. Now go. The mission details are on the pip buck. And remember that the OIA respects loyalty, among all else. Do not disappoint us." I closed the briefcase and bit onto the handle before turning to walk out of the room. Outside, 2 unicorns were waiting for me. My lieutenants. One taking the briefcase from my mouth, Looking back at the room I came out of, the door had closed as soon as I stepped out, but giving me a good view of my reflection in the glass that had its blinds closed from the inside. My reflection was that of an earth pony mare. I had a faded blue coat that looked almost gray, and a platinum blonde mane that went down to my neck, cut in a straight diagonal, longer in the front. My eyes, her eyes, were linked emeralds, cold, hard, and with a hunger. Admiral Thorne, Roseland? It has a nice ring to it. Everything started to melt away, dispersed into darkness until I was consumed by it. Once more, the black mare stood before me. Other than her golden eyes and lab coat barding, she blended into the darkness like it was a part of her. Another one of these, and so far from Luna's protection. She walked past me, her hooves never making a sound. Such simple action, and yet for them to be known. An empire can crumble in a fortnight. Turning to look at her again, she was gone. But what I saw was that I was in a massive room. Sparks of lightning racing along the walls from metal poles, and a rainbow-like fluid in a large pod. In the center was a platform. Though empty, I could feel it pull at me, as though it had its own gravity to it. A secret for a secret is the deal. Not that you will remember what you see. Her voice echoed, but only in my head, like there was nothing in between my ears. It is best that a few secrets are best left forgotten by simple minds, like a vague dream never understood. Normally, the worst part about waking up is the waking up part. Being in a comfy bed, warm under the sheets, and a pillow to cradle my head. The fact that I was on the cold floor left me confused, and considerably uncomfortable. Getting up, I racked through my brain to why I was not in bed, but I could remember nothing after entering the room. Ironbuck, how long was I out? 7 hours and 23 minutes. The time is currently 3:35 a.m. I scratched my head, wondering how much sleep I was going to end up doing here. Ironbuck, did I do anything before I fell asleep? You downloaded 3 messages from the terminal. Would you like to read them, or activate the text-to-talk? Terminal. I looked at the computer. It was called a terminal. I'll remember that. The text-to-talk? Use that? The Pipbuck didn't respond. Right. Ironbuck, activate the text-to-talk, and play the messages? Playing message 1. Acting overmare, healing herbs, to Stable-Tec employees. Change in stable population. As per ordered by the Stable-Tec President Applebloom, the R&D stable will now be sheltering a small population of equestrian refugees. Many of them will be zebras from Zebratown. For all those concerned about security, Stable-Tec will have done an extensive background check on each new resident. If we let them in, that means that they have no connections to the war, direct or indirect. Remember, here at Stable-Tec, we seek to outlive the war, not continue it. Taking a look at my Pipbuck, I saw the message was a little over a year old. Feeling hungry, I pulled out one of the MREs from my bag. The MRE itself felt like a solid block inside its sealed packaging, and on the side it was listed as a seaweed brick. Opening the package, I could see that it was a solid green brick, though not as hard as a rock. It held its form firmly. Playing message 2. Acting overmare, healing herbs to R&D stable residents. Further change in stable population. Once more, Applebloom, our Stable-Tec president, has changed the population that will be let into the stable. The refugees that will be let in soon are going to be all foals, along with a staff to look over them. The exact number of new residents that will be joining us is currently under review. If you have any complaints, send them to me in a letter. I will relay them to Applebloom. The message was a little under a month after the first. The brick offered some resistance as I took a bite out of it. It was a bit chewy, a little salty, but overall tasted good. The rest of the brick vanished after a few more bites. Playing message 3. Stable-Tec President Applebloom to R&D Stable. Thank you for your patience. I know that over this past year, I have pushed for changes to the R&D stable. and I am glad that you have shown your utmost patience with us all. At the end of the month, I will be taking my position of overmare at the R&D stable, and leaving Vice President Scootaloo in charge of further management of the company. Under my direct supervision as overmare, we will see to the further success of Stable-Tec, and the survival of all those within the stable. The message was listed as little over a week old. Looking at the rest of the data options, I saw that I had a quest open. Cleanup's Fun, it was called, reminding me that I said I would help Prancer Dancer clean the atrium. Putting my new barding back on, and just in case I might need it, I also put on my saddlebags. Let's see the damage. At this time, all the foals should be asleep, so it was also a good time to see the atrium in peace. Opening the door, I looked back out of the room. I could not help but feel that I was forgetting something again, but not even a hint in my head would come up. Whatever it would come later. Things I forgot always do. A secret for a secret is the deal. The words left my mouth as I left the room behind me. Heading to the atrium, I remembered what I'd forgotten. Drinking things that glow will make your piss glow. It was an odd sight that made me a bit worried. Unlike in the restroom, the lights in the hallway all dim, though I could still see clearly. It did well to make me feel like it was night, and I should still be asleep. Each hoofstep I took echoed down the hall, giving me a sense of déjà vu. But the quiet stillness was also calming for me. All it needed was a slight chill in the air to fill my lungs. Looking at the atrium door, I felt smaller for some strange reason, and I slowly pressed the button to open up the door. Light assaulted my eyes, and music assaulted my ears. As I stood, stunned by the sudden change in atmosphere, in the atrium was Prancer Dancer, dancing with a broom in her hooves, herself still covered in paint. Not far from Prancer was Candy Pop. She was sitting on a stool with a bottle of cola in her magic. The loud music itself was one that was popular over 10 years ago, not that I could remember the name of the artist. Closing the door behind me, I trotted to the two mares. Both looked like they were thoroughly enjoying themselves. "Hard at work, I see," I spoke up, trying to be clever. "Care if I join you two?"
"Oh, the stallion of the hour is here. You should drink up."
Candy Pop's voice slurred a little as she floated a bottle of cola to me. The soda itself was clear, but before it got close to me I could smell the alcohol from it.
"It's Musketball's moonshine. Just don't tell the overmare. Or Musketball." "Candy Pop, I love you like a sister, maybe even a lover, but you are a rapscallion and a bad example for the foals."
Prancer Dancer spoke up with an upbeat tone. Another soda bottle of moonshine rested next to her. Looking at the bottle I was just given, I could only think of two things. One was that drinking so soon after getting up is what an alcoholic pony would do, and two was that I have not had a drink of booze in days. I lifted the bottle to my lips and took a swig of the moonshine. The stuff felt like fire on its way down. Shit! This is strong stuff! I placed the bottle on top of a trash can before shaking the feeling off. The two mares both started laughing, Prancer falling over as Candy Pop pat me on the shoulder.
"Drink up. Prancer said you might show up. We got the maintenance hatch opened up. You can get a rag and bucket there."
I could see a small open door that had a drain at its bottom and held a bunch of cleaning supplies. Looking around, there was a lot to clean up, with the room near the two in a clean state, but the floors were still a mess. "Don't you have any robots for this?" Prancer got up, pushing the broom to the side.
"The robots are good for scrubbing the floors and dusting the shelves. We're just cleaning up the places that the bots can't go. Places that takes a pony's touch."
She rotated her hoof as she talked, clearly not a fan of this work.
"But I'm glad you're here. It's going to make work so much faster."
This then begged the question, so what did Candy do? Or is also just helping out? Candy Pop rolled her eyes at the question, but Prancer chimed in.
"She got caught handing out the B-Lab soda to the ponies in A-Labs. The overmare confiscated all the bottles and sent her here to help me." She didn't find the moonshine. Thank the goddesses for that.
Candy Pop said with a silent giggle as she took a swig of the drink.
To the moonshine!
Prancer also took a swig of her bottle. I used the levitation magic to grab the bottle and bring it to my hooves. Bottoms up. Taking another swig, the stuff still burnt on its way down. If I had to guess, the stuff was more than half alcohol. Grabbing a rag and bucket, I joined them in cleaning up the atrium. It was almost amazing how much of the paint had gotten everywhere. Looking around, there was even a long trail of small hoof prints inside one room that went up to the wall and across the ceiling. Luckily, for us, that was just one room. The rest were a normal mess. The room that Prancer Dancer and Candy Pop had already worked on was the lounge. It was a big, comfy-looking room with some tables and a lot of places to sit down. In the room was a few more bottles of the moonshine and a saggle bag discarded on the couch. On it was a red cross with a lollipop on it. The first room I worked on with the others was the arcade. Different arcade machines lined up along the walls. From my count, there were 15 of the arcade machines. Most were games that I'd played before, but a few were new to me. I stopped at one. Its title was Don't Mine at Night. The art of the machine was that of a colt holding a sword and a filly holding a pickaxe. Another had the title Fighting is Magic. The art for that was spectacular, with 6 mares displayed all over the machine. It was surprising that I'd never seen them before, as it looked like the kind of game I would buy. The arcade room proved to be a big chore to clean. As any reasonable pony would expect, nearly all the foals had been in here, and had touched everything. Luckily, the paint wiped off easily. Made for foals, Prancer told me, so it would be easy to clean up. The foals could eat it and only get a slight stomachache. Candy Pop had the easiest time at cleaning, using her cheating magic to quickly wipe off buttons. Prancer also had an easy time, not that she did any different than what I was doing, because she was faster at this than me. The next room was another game room. 2 pool tables sat in the middle, but not much more. The girls had me take care of this room on my own, as they went to take care on the theater room.
Hey, Slow Trot. What do you call a police pony with no legs?
Prancer yelled out from the next room.
I don't know. Not in the mood to work, I guess?
I yelled back.
A baton!
Prancer answered, and I could also hear Candy Pop giggle. The game room was an easy clean. The foals may have been here, but seeing as it was made for older ponies, they seemed to not have spent as much time in here. The next room was 2 rooms long. It had a dance floor along with a DJ setup, which meant it was another easy clean. Candy Pop decided to play DJ, and Prancer showed off her dance moves. Then they convinced me to join and do a dance-off. I met the challenge, but no amount of moonshine could hide that I didn't know how to dance, and I ended up just falling on my face, ending the dance-off before it even started. The last 2 rooms were more game rooms. Classic stuff too, with table tennis, foosball being the main attractions in the room. Now, quite drunk, Candy Pop claimed herself to be the next princess of Equestria, standing on the foosball table when she did, and granting Prancer Dancer the lord of the flop. Prancer responded by flopping to the ground. We headed to the second floor, and unlike the floor below, the rooms took up 2 spaces like the dance floor. Each one was a sports room, with little to clean on them as well. At this point, the work went fast, with Prancer Dancer singing, and the time went by fast. Candy Pop joined in, but she slurred much of the time, and when they tried to get me to join too, mostly chose to hum the words. When it was all over, it was a nice moment, till Candy Pop puked in her bucket. Then it became a funny moment.
So, Mr. Flotrot, what did you do outside, before the whole pip-buck problem?
Prancer asked me as she rubbed Candy's back. I sighed. Nothing really. Nothing at all. I placed my hooves on the railing and looked down. The robots had already moved in and were cleaning the floors.
Oh, come now. You have to have been doing something.
Her voice was calm, more inviting than prying. Nope, I worked jobs I was no good at, spent the bits on rent, food, and drinks, and went to sleep hoping that the war would be over when I got up. Sometimes I hated how the drink made me more chatty, but the drunk times were when I could easily talk to some pony, or let them talk to me.
Nothing new. I've seen a lot of ponies like you over the years. More as the years went on.
She walked up beside me, putting her hooves on the rail as well.
But things will get better. From what I've been told, you're a really lucky pony to even be alive after what that thing did. I wouldn't be surprised if Stable-Tec gives you a ton of bits just to forget the whole thing happened.
That would make life a little bit easier. Maybe find a nice place far from Equestria. You know, till the war's over. Prancer gave a gasp and then sighed.
That's probably the smartest thing to do right now.
She tapped her hooves on the railing.
I'm sure some pony has told you this already, but I used to be part of the Ministry of Morale. Early on when the ministry was first formed, our job was to keep the spirits of the ponies up in the dark times, help them get through all the fear and anger. My teacher was not happy that I joined up with the MOM, saying that laughter can't be issued by the government. That day, the great Tonkati left Equestria, off to lands not poisoned by war, and I was proud to go with him, and too ashamed to go and find where he disappeared to.
Looking over at her, she was crying a little, looking into a small bottle of moonshine.
The MOM did good work, but along the way, this just wasn't the same anymore. Instead of making ponies happy, we were forcing them to pretend they were happy. I had enough when I held a pinky party, and even I had to pretend to enjoy myself.
She rotated her hoof again.
I would always tell myself that a party pony was no party pony if they hated the party, and there I was, being a party pony who hated the party I was running. Too much pink, I say.
Candy Pop joined us, looking a lot better after having emptied her stomach.
You can't just paint everything pink and call it a day. Hurts the eyes.
Prancer laughed.
You know, that's so true. I never go into the little fillies aisle at the superstore. The mountain of pink is overwhelming.
I even joined them in laughter. Prancer nudged me.
But no matter. I now get to put a smile on all the fools' faces. Real smiles. I've even seen the stiffs down at the lab crack a smile now and then. What were we talking about before?
I think it was... Nothing came to me. Between the moonshine and Prancer's sudden story, I had forgotten. Something. I'll remember it later. We shared another laugh, and enjoyed a bit more of our drink, except for Candy Pop, who had had enough for the night. Looking back down, 2 ponies walked in, both keeping to the spots that the robots had already cleaned. One was the mare from the diner. The other had me sign the forms. The other was an older stallion, with a dark blue coat and light blue mane, and security barding on. Prancer nudged me again with her hoof.
Looks like Dot and Cross is on a date with the security chief again. His name is Brass Badge, by the way.
Almost like on cue, Dot and Cross looked up at us with an irritated-looking glare.
It's good to see that you're able to get some real work done, even if it is your own mess.
Now, Dots, we can't just stop and tell off every pony we see. We're on a tight schedule. Brass Badge spoke up with a tired tone before looking up at us. Speaking of which, seeing as you're done here, can you go to the overmare's office? Healing Herbs should be about done there. To let her know that we will be back tomorrow. Dot and Crosses gave Brass Badge a stern look.
Seriously, Brass. You're sending the clown, the gossip, and a pony that does not even work here to the overmare's office. Are you trying to give Healing Herbs a heart attack?
I'd have asked the others to do it, but every pony up at this hour is busy with work. Other than the 3 of them, it's just a message. He retorted.
Fine. But I better not find out that they did anything stupid in her office.
Dot and Crosses stomped a hoof before walking to the door. When Brass Badge looked back up at us, we gave him a collective nod, and watched them leave to the atrium.
I bet they're gonna go knock horns on the resort.
Candy Pop blurted as soon as they were out the door.
That's what most ponies do when they get time out of the stable. They should really just announce it and tie the knot. It's been a long time since I planned a wedding. Prancer sighed as she spoke.
Candy Pop had the biggest grin on her face, looking over at me and at Prancer.
It's only a matter of time. She's pregnant.
Prancer gasped.
No fucking way.
Candy nodded.
Doc Lifebeef confirmed it yesterday. Grumpy Dot was all speechless about it. You don't think she's going to tell him about it topside, do you?
Prancer had a big smile on her face as well. At this point, I was getting uncomfortable with the conversation being had, with me in the middle. Excuse me? But did you say something about a resort? The two looked at me, almost as though they just remembered that I was there. Prancer was the one who spoke up.
So, nobody told you. Well then, you're in for a treat.
She patted me on the shoulder.
The Stable-Tec R&D stable is on none other than the Merrywell Islands. The second island, to be exact. Plenty of sun, warm sands, and places to go and enjoy yourself at.
I face-hoofed. My first time to Hawaii, and it's stuck underground. Candy Pop then patted my shoulder with the other side.
This stable's built under a Stable-Tec's own resort. When you're done with testing, I'm sure they'll let you stay here for a few days.
Looking back at Candy Pop, she was a bit too close, her eyes locked with mine.
There's something I want to ask you, Slow Trot.
I nodded, feeling a bit dumbstruck by her sudden closeness.
Can you go to the overmare's office and deliver the message for us?
Candy Pop backed off a little.
We're a bit on her short list right now. There'd be a lot of glaring and ranting if we were to bother her.
Prancer burst off laughing as Candy pushed herself off the rails and back onto all fours.
Oh, and while you're there, can you pick up the bottles of B-Lab soda that she confiscated? I'll have a surprise for you if you do.
She gave me a wink. Sighing, I got back on all hooves. No problem. But no promises on the soda. An icon on my upper right, my vision appeared, stating a route had been set, and a new quest had been started. Finishing off the moonshine, I placed the empty bottle near a trash can, and walked off to the atrium side doors. It opened with a soft hiss when I hit the button.
It's not just Dot who's pregnant. Well, it's not confirmed, but...
The closing of the door cut off the rest of Candy Pop's conversation, leaving me back in with the still quietness. The door to the overmare's office looked no different from all the other doors in the stable. But like with going to the principal's office, it filled me with a bit of dread just looking at it, even if I had done nothing wrong. Knocking on the door a few times proved no response. I was entirely unsure that the sound could be heard unless I bucked the door. Pressing the button to open the door also provided no response, other than giving me a short buzz, which I could only guess meant that I needed a key. I was at a bit of a loss to what to do next, other than wait for her to open the door herself. Though, now that I think about it, I would be a good idea to wait till I was more sober. It'd be a few hours before the moonshine had run its courses through me.
May I?
Quickly turning my head to the side in surprise, I saw an all-black earth pony mare with golden eyes and lab barding.
She's been locking the door more often lately, like she's hiding herself away.
She pushed her hoof to the button, and the door softly hissed open. The inside of the overmare's office was dim like the hallway, except for a lamp on her desk, which shined onto Healing Herbs, who was asleep in the chair. Thanks. I just need to... The mirror next to me was gone. Neither in the office nor down the hall. She was simply gone, even though she was never here at all. The hair along my spine raised up, as if in protest of the fact that I knew she was here, but now she was gone.
Right, no ghosts here, not at all,
I whispered to myself. Inside the overmare's office, I found the bottles of B-Lab soda that Candy Pop had asked for. There were also plenty of boxes scattered around and a ton of paperwork on her desk. Overall, I could see that it was not the kind of job I would want, not unless I was being paid a ton of bits to do it. The room had one window, and taking a peek out, I could see that it looked down into the atrium. Candy and Prancer were still down there, putting away the buckets and rags we had used. Seeing that the overmare was fast asleep, and that the alcohol in my system made me feel a bit braver, this was an opportune time to grab the B-Lab soda for candy pop, before I woke Healing Herbs. Levitation magic helped a lot when it came to quietly putting the stuff in my saddlebags, and I was pleasantly surprised when I was able to fit 10 into each bag without a problem. They didn't even make much noise inside of it, or even puff out the bags all that much. Must have been some sort of magic to it. 20 bottles was about all there was of the glowing stuff, though there were other Sparkle Cola bottles as well. One batch was green. It was labeled as A-Lab soda. Other than that, one had a blue color to it, labeled as C-Lab soda. Seeing as though I'd already taken a few, I decided on taking a few more, couldn't hurt. A frowny face appeared in the upper right of my vision, making me feel a bit bad about taking the other bottles. Before pulling back and waking the overmare, the shelf behind the box of soda caught my eye. On the shelf was a bunch of photos in decorative frames, each of them having the same two ponies in it, Healing Herbs and a shy-looking Pegasus. She looked like the mayor of the Ministry of Peace. Most of them showed the two of them together with nurses' caps on. They were either among patients or other nurses or by themselves, all with big grins on their faces. Second to the last photo was a little different, as the two were in lab coats now and surrounded by unicorns who were also in lab coats. The happy feeling on their faces seemed to be not as big as before. The last photo seemed to be bursting with joy. It was a group photo, and other than Healing Herbs, and what I guessed was the 6 Ministry mares, the few other mares in the photo were unknown to me. Above them was a big, colorful banner saying Baby Shower on it. Mumbling from Healing Herbs snapped me back to my mind, and to what I was here for. Walking up to her desk, I knocked softly on its metal surface, hoping not to startle her awake. She slowly opened her golden eyes to look at me, before pulling herself up in her seat.
If this is about another setback, just find a workaround. I'll take care of the paperwork, she said with a bit of a yawn.
Sorry, I'm here to let you know that Dot and Cross, and Brass Badge, they'll be back tomorrow. I mean, they asked me to tell you that. I was really hoping I was making myself sound like an idiot. Healing Herbs rubbed her face with her hooves, and looked at me with her pale green eyes.
Oh, you're the one with the pip buck we need. Why are they having you run errands? You should be down in B-Labs getting that thing removed.
She sighed before tapping her terminal.
Message received, so get back down to the pip buck lab. You're one on a tight schedule right now.
With me off, she accidentally tipped over an empty bottle of B-Lab soda. With nothing more to do here, and not wanting to irritate the mayor, I stepped out from the office and pressed the button to close the door. As the door closed, I thought I could hear Healing Herbs whisper over the door's soft hiss. Secret for a secret. Give me an odd feeling of deja vu. Footnote. Quest complete. Cleanup's fun.